Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Rage Against the Regime at Blog Talk Radio. To call in, dial 929-477-3565. That's 929-477-3565. I was born in the land of the free, in the home of the brave. I'll bleed American blood until the end of my days. The red, white, and blue, these colors never fade. Rage against the regime.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is kc-massey with James Lewis here on Rage Against the Regime. I guess today we're going to be talking about the motions that still haven't had a ruling yet, and about current events, what's going on around our country. What's going on, James?
Well, it seems like everything's going to plan, at least up in Baltimore. It looks like they've had quite an interesting night last night. I don't understand how the mayor can get away with saying, let's give them room to tear stuff up. But, hey, you know, I don't live up in that part of the country. I guess they look at things a little bit different than we do down here. But it seems like they've got some good folks up there trying to get a handle on it. Man, I applaud that mama that snatched her son up and beat the whop out of him right there and shoot him right on back home. I guarantee you. You know, I bet you he got home and had to cut himself a switch. And I don't think they got many switch trees up there, so I imagine a piece of chain link fence got used on that young boy's bow hunting. Son, they need more women like that. That reminded me all up one side and down the other of my grandmother. Holy smokes, if I'd have got out of line like that, she'd have done me the same way. Friends, no friends. You think you're embarrassed now, young man? Wait till I get you home. Ooh, dog. Man, I applaud her. She is one heck of a lady. She did good.
Yes, she did. That's the way I would treat my kid if I saw him doing it. And that's the way any parent, I think, that actually cared about their kid would do. You know, I saw an interview where she had said that she just wanted to make sure that her kid didn't wind up the next dead kid.
Absolutely. You know, it's like the chief of police come out there and he said, hey, you know, I mean, these are 14, 15, 16-year-old kids. You know, we don't want to go in there and apply force on them. But they want to step up and think that they can get away with it. That's how they've been trained to think by their mentors in the gangs. You know, you stand on the street corner, man, you ain't going to get busted. If you do, don't worry about it. You're just a kid. They ain't going to do nothing to you. You go make my money, bring my money back, and we'll get you right up on in the family here. You know, you're taken care of. We take care of you. You know, I mean, shit. Pardon my French. No, I don't pardon it. I mean, that's a fact.
Well, I mean, it's a crying shame that the parents in this country have not done a better job educating and raising their children. I mean, there is no excuse for destroying the city because you've got bad cops. Do we have bad cops? Absolutely. Do those bad cops, some of them need their asses kicked in? Absolutely. But how is that helping when you're destroying a city, when you're destroying innocent people's property that had nothing to do with what's going on up there? I mean, that's ridiculous to think that you're going to affect some sort of change through destruction of innocent people's property and lives. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Look what these progressive liberals have done to the opportunity to raise your kids that way. You swat your kid at home now, what do they do? Now, go ahead, hit me. I'm going to call CPS on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my kids, they never tried that, but I would have told them in a heartbeat, you know, go ahead, because guess what? I'm still going to be living here. When CPS leaves, you'll be gone, not me. So if that's what you want, go right ahead. Dial CPS. Go right ahead. My kids,
they don't understand.
They never called it.
No, Nope. Absolutely
not. I think that it's more like Ferguson what's going on. It seems to me like there's a large outside interference that's pushing this race war, this riot, for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's reason, but not any good reason.
I think you've got the nail on the head right there, buddy, and I think you hit it with Thor's hammer. That is driving it home. We have outside sources interfering with our government. We have outside sources. We have outside influences outside of the realm of what is American, trying to influence America and deconstruct it into something that it was never intended to be. And you know who I'm talking about. I use their initials, Muslims. They don't belong here with that. I'm sorry. It's not racist or anything else, man. Their ideology calls for my death. You know, they're the ones who put me on that list. They're the ones who put, Christians on that list. They're the ones who put America on that list, and now they're bringing them over here. Our fearless, well, not quite fearless, our hairless leader, ain't got a hair on his ass,
Amen.
is trying to bring them over here by the plane load, by the thousands. The boat they don't belong here. Their ideology doesn't belong here. It will not coexist. It is designed to dominate. And we don't need that kind of domination here, dude.
I agree with you 100%. While I'm 100% for the freedom and liberty for everybody to do as they want, once you start trying to force me to do your will or your belief, then that's not free. And that's, our freedoms are meant to be free to us. And if you want to be a Muslim, as far as I'm concerned, you're free to be a Muslim. But that don't mean you're free to push your Muslim crap on me or your ways on me. And then once you do that, then you've violated my rights, and that's when I will stand up for my rights with lethal authority.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's just not my way of life that you're attacking. It's my grandkids. And my grandparents made a nice place for me to inherit. And I would be doing all of my ancestors that have been Americans a disservice to their sacrifice to let it slip away on my watch. And not going to happen. They've got a toehold, but that's it. They've infiltrated and they've made inroads, but that's it. People are finally seeing them for what it is. There's no more rose-colored glasses on it. I mean, you see the dirty truth. You can put lipstick on a pig, but brother, all you got is a hog running around with your wife's lipstick on it.
Yep.
I get my ass tore up every time I get a hold of my wife's lipstick. She said, "You ain't putting that on no hog. Get over there." Son, man, she ain't gonna put up with it. And you know my wife. I don't cross her.
Yeah, Tracy boxed you up.
No, I'm telling you, I needed it too, but that was a willing submission. Boy, I love that gal.
She doing okay?
Yeah, she's doing good. She's doing good. And, I can't say enough about how she has, in the Bible it says, in Ruth it says, his people will be your people. You're leaving your people, and his people are now your people when you get married, when a woman gets married. And she took that to heart. She treats my mother like she treats her own mother. And, I mean, with sweetness, kindness, and everything, and all sorts of indifference. And my dad, my stepdad, she fought tooth and nail for him to get him to where he's at today. And we have had nothing but a wonderful relationship for the last 3 weeks after he had been able to get over to Watkins Logan, the veterans home here in Tyler. Oh my gosh!
That's still going real good?
Oh, it's going excellent. Are you kidding, dude? That place is it's a pilot program, getting away from having everybody into one giant building, everybody sharing a bathroom, that kind of thing, and that because it's hard to keep your dignity when the guy that you're in the room with can't contain himself and the bathroom is not in your room. you have to go down a hallway to get to a communal bathroom, and it has been left in a state of nastiness, not by choice. It's just that's what happens when you have a bunch of people using the same facility that have difficulties with their bowels and that kind of stuff. It's demeaning in the first place to be put in that. It takes away from their sense of self-worth so much to have to go through that. But over there at Watkins Logan, there are 10 separate buildings, and each building houses 10 veterans. Now, in that building, there's staff, there's nurses, they have their own kitchen, their own cooks in that there, and a great room with a fireplace. It's just amazing. 10 separate rooms, okay, with a bathroom in each one. These people are treating our veterans the way that they should be treated. They're treating the elderly. They're treating our elders as our elders should be treated, with reverence and care. And it's not like the other places that he came from. And no, I won't mention them by name or by initial. They know who they are, and shame on them. I pray that God takes a hand in their situation and makes it better for all the rest of the residents that were left there. God bless them. And but over there at Watkins Logan, it is. If you get a chance, folks, and you're in the Tyler area, go by and visit. And you can do that. You can go over there and you can talk to Miss Debbie. She's like, well, okay, maybe not. Yeah, go by and talk to Debbie. Tell her James Lewis sent you, and that you want to tour the facility. She would love to show it off. There are 10 more of these facilities currently going in the Houston area. Now, this is a pilot program for a new way of taking care of veterans in a new setup, in a new surrounding, and these 10 bungalows, these 10 houses are on 20 acres, and the lawns are kept and everything. Now, it's a for-profit. It's a VA, a Veterans Administration home in that, but it's a for-profit situation, and it's just unbelievably fantastic. It's what all of our veterans deserve. It's what they gave their life's blood for. It's what they gave their time for. It's what they gave their limbs for. It's what they gave their sanity to for our country, and it's the best way that I have seen that they can say thank you. I can't say enough for Watkins Logan. And oh my gosh, the staff, man, most of the staff, if not 90%, 100% of the staff are veterans themselves. So you have Navy nurses, and you know how them gals are. They are fantastic. They will not take no bunk, but they will make sure that you are cared for in a loving way. They will, or they just go out of their way to do their job, and they enjoy it. They give back the respect that these people have earned and deserved. My dad turns 90 this year. He's a World War II vet, and there are a lot of men there a lot younger than him, and I have heard the same thing from everyone that I've come in contact with over there, that if you haven't been someplace else and you come there, you don't really realize what it is. But if you've been somewhere else and then you get there, you think you've actually walked through the pearly gates and St. Peter has got your bed ready.
Oh,
it's
awesome,
just
man.
amazing.
I'm
can't
glad
say
y'all
enough
were
good
able to
about
get
it.
your dad in it.
Oh, man. I lost a good friend last year. He was a veteran, and he served on the Hornet, on the carrier, and he was one of the guys that went out there and picked up the capsules out of the ocean when they splashed back down and that. And we lost him. He was in a home. He went to have back surgery done, and while he was in the process of having the back surgery done, he had a heart attack, and that. So once he was done at the hospital, they sent him to a rehabilitation center and a care center, and then the medical insurance that he had wouldn't pay for physical therapy. And if you've ever had back surgery or had your back messed up and that, you know you need to be up moving around. You know you need to be up functioning as soon as possible. And if you've ever had bypass surgery or quad bypass or had a family member that's had it, you know how important it is to get up and get physical again and get that body working again. Well, his insurance wouldn't pay for it. They wouldn't pay for it. He wound up with bed sores on him. They rotted all the way through to the bone.
Oh.
His kidneys failed, and they told him that, they could do a colostomy on him, but, it gave him maybe a couple more months, and he said, nah, no thanks. No thanks. This is all I got. I'm done. God bless his heart. That man served with dignity, and that not only on the Hornet, but afterwards in his private life, and that in the private sector, he was one of the guys that went into Iraq and checked out their manufacturing facilities and stuff over there for oil, and that to see how expediently they could be put back online for the people over there. And that the man was a very intelligent man, and to have to go that way, it just broke my heart, and there was nothing we could do, nothing. So
well,
yeah,
he's in a better
so
place
fortunate.
now.
Yeah, oh, dude, he's running, skipping, jumping, hopping, and farting. He's in a good place now. Yep. Anyway, let's get back on a brighter subject. Bob, I know you're up there, and I know you're listening, and we love you, brother, and we miss you. We're looking out over the missus, too. So don't you worry about that, man. We got it covered.
Did you see the deal where supposedly Greg Abbott he placed the National Guard to, quote, watch
dude,
the
it's
Army?
not the National Guard. It's not the National Guard. Guess which guard it is?
Texas Guard, but it's still the Texas National Guard.
No, it's the Texas Guard,
authority.
dude. It's not. It's it's the Texas militia under the governor.
That's not the way I was reading it. I may have
no
misread
kidding.
it.
Maybe I misread it. Hell, let me pull it back up. Anyway, that's what. Let me see. Okay, go ahead. I'm a pulling and looking.
I was thinking it was. He took the Texas National Guard, which is the Texas Guard, which is under the governor's authority, and he's supposedly got them, quote, watching the U.S. Army, which, I mean, any of us that have been in the service or around the service understand the National Guard will not be able to tell the regular Army anything, and they're running out of there. I don't understand. To me, it just seems like a bunch. It seems to me like a nice fluffy pillow, full of air. As soon as you lay your head on it, all the air goes out, and it ain't worth a damn. Because, Abbott, he hadn't done anything that he said he was going to do. When he was running for office, he said that his first priority when he got elected would be to secure the border and to get open carry for Texas. And if you remember last week, I posted where I talked directly to Dan Flynn, and who's a state rep, and he told me that they considered us on the border vigilantes, and we were unlawful. We were causing more problems than we were helping. We were getting in law enforcement's way. That came straight from our state rep.
Well, that just shows you how much in the dark and stupid that dumb sumbitch is.
Oh, I agree. But he told me that was the consensus.
Nigga, please. Oops. Hey.
Well,
hang on. I got to drop $1 in a jar.
That's what they considered us, was vigilantes. They said that we were not lawful, that we could only do that if the governor had called us in, which I informed him that that's not true. And he said that there's no such thing as the unorganized militia, that there's only the militia that the governor controls. Said, I beg to differ with you. You need to read the Constitution. We, the
Wow.
people, have the absolute right to defend our country, our state, our county, our town, and my piece of dirt. I don't need
Absolutely.
permission from anybody to defend any of the above.
Huh. Yeah, I'm looking at it here. It says Texas State Guard. Is that
Which
what they
is the
call it?
Texas
National Guard? Texas State Guard? No, it says
Yep.
Texas State Guard.
Yeah, but my dad was in the Texas State Guard, and it's called the Texas National Guard. TARNG, Texas Army National Guard. And it's the same thing. That's when my dad went to Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. He was in the TARNG.
Oh, man, dang. Here, I thought they had done the right thing. Shoot.
No, it's just smoke and mirrors.
Wow.
Just some more political bullshit. It means nothing. Has no actual effect.
Well, I'm going to have to research that a little bit more. That just ticks me off. Had me going on a good note, and then I find out I'm all screwed up. Oh, well.
Well, I think that's
Monday.
what they were intending. They want us to think, he's doing something. Becky Williams, who also has a show on Rage Against the Regime platform, she's trying to put together people, and they're going to demand that either secures the border with the National Guard, or they're talking about trying to find a way to be deputized and arrest him for dereliction of duty and for putting our state in jeopardy by not securing our state.
Well,
I don't know how that's going to work out. I guess we'll have to see. I support it.
They are working on a bill like that right now for Texas and Arizona and New Mexico. You know, I mean, the states that are contiguous with the southern border. And it would take it out of the federal hands.
But if our state representatives and our governor are going to call us vigilantes for defending the border, do you think that there's any difference? I mean, do you really think that they give a shit? Because we shouldn't be, even though the term vigilante means someone who is basically trying to support and defend the law just without a badge. I mean,
well, not only that, where there is no law enforcement.
Yeah, the vigilante fits as far as by definition, but the way that the word is used, it's just like militia. It has a negative connotation to it.
They're trying to drop it off.
Vigilante. Yeah, they're just trying to make us sound bad, like we're doing something criminal when we're not. You know, all we're trying to do is secure our state, to secure our property and our kids and grandkids, so that we don't have to worry about these foreign invaders. I mean, we both spend time on the border. We both know what's coming across that border. And I don't care what the government keeps telling us. We know better. We proved it without a doubt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's not only that we know better, we know that they're bald-faced liars. Yeah, and that just, I can't believe you come off with it, vigilante, correct? That just sucks. What a he has no clue what. This is a college graduate.
I tagged him in the post on Facebook, and he tried to come on there and say that I must have misunderstood him, and I didn't understand what he was saying. I said, "Oh, yes, sir, I understood you very clearly, and I recorded the conversation to make sure that I had direct quotes." And he shut up and said another word.
Yeah. Oh, that'll teach him. That'll teach him, telling tales out of school. You know, actually, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because it lets you know exactly what he thinks of us. He's one of them.
Yep.
Holy crap.
I made it very clear.
He's on the other side of the damn division.
Well, I helped for 2 different election cycles. This was the 3rd that just happened. I helped get the shitbag elected. And I'm going to do everything in my power to unseat Dan Flynn. And Dan Flynn, if you're hearing me, believe I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that you do not get another term working for the great state of Texas. For you crooked, no good SOBs, I'm going to work tirelessly to try to get you unseated and get real constitutional Texans elected in office. Sick of this crap, man. I'm sick of these usurpers thinking that because we elected them, they're omni-important and omni-powerful, and they don't need to listen to us anymore. You know, just like the open carry. They wound up twisting it into open carry with a license. So you're trying to regulate my right.
Absolutely.
And charge me a fee for it.
I saw a piece about mom's demand or whatever, mom's whatever it is. It's a really a derogatory thing to put a mom in front of. But coming out and against the Texas open carry because it has a clause in it to where law enforcement has no they can't just come because you're open carrying. They can't come up and talk to you and ask you about your carrying, period. And they're saying, oh, well, that's going to give all the criminals a chance to open carry too. Really?
Well, that was what that was. Yeah, but what that was, honestly, and it hasn't passed both houses yet, that was an amendment that was offered. I believe it was coming out of the House. It was an amendment. And so it has to go to the Senate to be voted for and the Senate to give the amendment in there. Under that amendment, it would not allow the police the authority to just come up and question you because you had a firearm on. They couldn't just walk up and say, okay, hey, I need to see your ID. Because if they don't have that, then that means anybody that wears a gun is subject to police harassment at any time. Just for the fact that you have a firearm with a view, gives them the absolute right to come up and start questioning you as to who you are and you have a license. And that's not right either. So hopefully the amendment will stay in. And in the process, yes, that means that somebody who's not legally qualified, which I think they all are legally qualified by the Constitution to keep and bear arms.
The Second Amendment shall not be infringed, man, and that's why I didn't have any faith in it in the first place because it's, $350 and a note from your mama, then you can carry. Bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. That's bullshit.
You can't regulate my right to suit your fucking fancy.
Nope. And charge me a fee like it's a privilege. You know, you guys have lost your freaking minds. You piece of shit elected officials have lost your ever-loving freaking mind. To try to, man, I can't believe the way that they try to treat us like they're our smart parent. We're the retard kid. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. I'm really, really sick of it.
Yeah, well, these retard kids and a company of buddies down there did a damn good job on turning them back at the river. You know.
Yeah,
so I guess if these retard kids can do it, anybody can do it.
Well, we just proved that they're lying. They said that we had to have training. We just showed them, no, we don't need training. We need common sense. And, God still has some of us out here that have that. Common sense has not been totally stripped out of this country. Yes, for a lot of the newer, younger generation because of the way they've indoctrinated them. But, most of us still have the common sense.
I think that's why they came up with that Common Core crap.
Yeah, common core you out.
Yeah, to go against your common sense. Yeah. Oh, no. Just because you think and know it works that way, no, you're going to have to go and do it this way because it's convoluted and bullshit. And I see that a couple of states have already got together and went and repealed that Common Core bullshit. I hope Texas gets into that line.
Well, we ought to. But see, that goes back to our elected officials again.
Yeah, buddy.
They're supposed to be out here speaking the will of the people. They're supposed to be representing us down there because not all of us can fit in that one vote. So, therefore, we elect representatives that are supposed to speak for us. But these son of a bitches like Dan Flynn get elected, and then they want to go down south and they don't care what we say anymore. Then it's all about what they say and their omnipotent, intelligent opinion. And I'm sick of it, man. You guys are not that important. You guys are not that intelligent. Matter of fact, we're stupid for giving you that kind of power to do it anyway. Their days are coming to an end. This crap is going to stop.
Well, I'm just hoping that it's going to be as easy to have him removed as it was to put him in.
Well, I hope it's easy. It may be painful for some of the people involved, but I imagine after the first few people start seeing how painfully important it is that we don't have this type of representation or lack of representation, that the ones that aren't in line will jump in line real quick because they're not going to want to have to suffer repercussions like the ones who've gone out and usurped and violated their oath of office and violated the trust of the people that elected them and put them in office.
I think there ought to be a little physical pain that goes along with that, a little tar and feathering, maybe a little ride out on a rail.
Oh, yeah.
Just to give the next one the notion that, I'm not really going to want to do that because my constituents are going to run me out of town on a rail, literally.
Well, and the thing about it is that's one of the things about our, forefathers that, some people think, oh, they were brutal. They were, because they hang your ass. They'd horsewhip you. They'd put you in a stockade, in the middle of town square. But, personally, I don't see a problem with that. It kept people cognizant of the repercussions of their actions.
Exactly.
Back then, if you raped somebody, you didn't get no cushy, soft jail. First off, jail back then didn't have AC, didn't have heat. Your ass suffered like a big dog when you were locked up. And now, they've got all these comfy, cush little prisons and climate-controlled and TVs and telephones and all the neat stuff, so you can go to prison now and run a criminal enterprise.
And they do.
Oh, yeah.
Lord knows they do. We know they do. But it's inhumane to treat somebody like they deserve to be treated.
Oh, no, it's not. If it ever goes crazy, I promise you, I will be somebody that you don't want to break the law. And what I mean by law, people, please understand, when I say law, I'm not talking about the crap that these usurpers have put on the books. I'm talking about common law. I'm talking about the Ten Commandments. I'm talking about victimization of another. In my humble opinion, if you have not affect means to burden or obstruct anyone, then you have not committed a crime. But if you harm another person with your reckless choices and decisions, then I believe that you should suffer quickly and firmly the repercussions of your actions. And people, in my opinion, that go out and rape, rob, pillage, murder, they should be killed after trial. And if you have enough witnesses that actually saw you do what you were accused of doing, I think they should march you outside the court after trial and kill you right then. Like I posted yesterday about what's going on in Baltimore. I'm not somebody to jump on the cop bandwagon because I know how corrupt the cops are. I've got a lot of cop friends, and they, privately tell me that, man, the cop world has gone to crap. You got these bunch of thugs and punks in here that like to misuse and abuse people. But one of my suggestions is anybody that's caught looting, shoot them on sight. Just make sure you got videotape showing them coming out of a building that's been looted. Anybody that's setting fires in the streets, burning cars, shoot them. Just make sure you got video showing that they were, in fact, creating crime. Anybody that robs, beats up, or rapes another person during these riots, kill them. Just make sure that you got video documentation that they were involved in that crime. You know, you start shooting these dirt bags, and they're not going to want to keep going. They're going to stop. But see, everybody knows that all they'll do is slap us on the wrist if they even come after us.
Wasn't there a reporter that was saved? Wasn't there a reporter that was saved by a business owner with a shotgun?
Oh, there's been a bunch of people.
Yeah.
We protect each other better than the cops do, but that's the problem. You know, we've forgotten what Benjamin Franklin said, and that's those who would give up their liberty for security deserve neither. And being free takes work. To be able to be responsible for yourself takes work. And you have to be able to look out for your neighbor and love your neighbor as thyself. You have to be able to look out for your community and actually care what happens. But we've all become so lazy and complacent and self-centered that we don't care about anybody but us. And that's why our country has gone to shit like it has.
Yeah, and they sure fed into that, too, with, don't worry about it, call a cop. Don't worry about it, call a cop. You know, if you see something, just get out of the way, then call a cop. I'm sorry. I understand people that don't have the intestinal fortitude, that are scared. I can understand. I can understand those kind of folks. They're the meek, the mild people, and that. But come on, folks. I mean, these people are trying to kill you. Even a dog will stand up and bite at somebody trying to hurt it.
Yeah, it's become a shame. Our country has just gotten so complacent, and we don't stand up for each other anymore. We don't love thy neighbor. We don't have the neighborhood cookouts, the family get-togethers like we used to. I remember when I was a kid, we used to always have family reunions. When family from all over would come together and have a big spread and tell tales of the old days. And I mean, families don't even do that anymore. I mean, people just don't get together anymore. It's too much bother. Everybody's busy living their own little life, doing their own little thing. And unfortunately, as a result, we've become distant from each other. And we don't look out for each other like we used to.
Would you say that a barbecue in that is an American thing? I mean, would you say that's one of the hallmarks of Americans is that barbecue, that cookout with friends and family and that kind of stuff? I would.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you know what they've done? They are trying to outlaw barbecues and cooking outside in California. It's another attack on America, Americana. It's another attack on American ideals and principles. It's another way to tear us down and tear us apart even further. And that's all it is. It's a sneaky, left-handed, sorry-ass, backhanded way to jack us up. The guy that came up with this, well, yeah, I know, but, you got to watch them because next they'll be trying to do it here. It's like...
Well, as long as I'm alive, it won't happen.
Yeah, no kidding. And I hope to have a long life. And I hope you live well into your hundreds, brother.
Oh, I don't. Don't do that to me. Please don't.
Oh, yeah. That reminds me.
Anytime I'm having a private get-together on my private property and the police want to come try to raid on my parade, they will leave. I'm not going to have it. I promise you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of hard to do that when the police are the ones in there telling you when to flip the burgers. I mean, it needs to get to be back to that kind of thing, and that's what they're trying to tear down. They're trying to tear down our esprit de corps. They're trying to tear down our comradeship, and they've done a pretty friggin' good job of it. But I think it's on the way back. What I saw, on the TV today with a lot of those parents and stuff today talking about their kids and how they were keeping their kids away from that stuff. And there's a lot of good people out there today going, hey, they ain't part of our community. We don't know where these son of bitches came in from. Well, they know where they came in from. They know when they came in because even in that city of Baltimore, them folks knew when other folks came in there and what they were up to. They knew that the Muslim Brotherhood or the whatever it is was getting the Crips and Bloods together, and it wasn't to put their gang violence aside. It was so they could team up and harm police officers and take out cops and white folks. You know, yeah, it's here, it's on our shores, and it is working hard to kill us right now. And what I'm saying is, anytime that you see that, anytime that you find out about it, let somebody know about that, because that's what they're doing. They have slithered their way into your section of the garden and are going to try to bite you and your kids. That's a snake. You know, these agitators, these people that want to crank up a race war, that want to get, whitey getting a honky. You know what I mean? You just take them honkies out, man. They've been your oppressor for years. You know, and they're agitating people that haven't got much of nothing to live for anyway. They don't see any way out. And they're giving them this, let's tear it up.
You know what's a shame, though? I watched a video interview, a news station interview of the Crips and Bloods out there in Baltimore. They came together, and they said, look, man, we are not out here trying to destroy the streets. We are trying to stop this. These are people that are out here destroying our communities. We have come together as Bloods and Crips to protect our community. We're not the ones tearing it up. We're trying to stop it. And that's exactly the opposite of the narrative that the media is trying to push. They tried to push that the Bloods and Crips were out here tearing everything up. And in the interview that they did on TV, they said, no, man, we are not trying to destroy our city. We love our city, but the government and these shills coming in are the ones that, like Al Sharpton, Obama, they're the ones that are creating the racial division and trying to send in people to stir up problems. And look, man, I can't for the life of me think why anybody would want to it's like destroying your own house. Why would you do that? It's ludicrous to me, and I cannot believe that the people that are doing this are actually citizens of this area. Because, just like yesterday, they burned down a CVS pharmacy that was a neighborhood store. Now, what are they going to have to do to try to go get their supplies, their medicines? I mean, I don't believe that this is being done by the actual people that live there. Are they mad about the cops? Yes. Do they want something to be done? Yes. But are they the ones tearing up their own town? I do not believe that. Just like Ferguson. I believe it was, and in Ferguson they said it clearly numerous times. It was outside people that were coming in stirring the problems. They were stirring people up to destroy stuff.
I agree.
And I think they're doing the same thing here. I don't think these people, it's just like, people try to talk bad about the black culture or black people that grew up in ghettos. Well, I happen to grow up in a rough part of Dallas, the East Dallas, Pleasant Grove area, and anybody that's familiar with Dallas knows what Pleasant Grove is and means and was. It is. And I've got some very good friends that are what you would stereotype as a typical ghetto black person. But, man, those guys are some of the best friends that I've had for 20 years. I mean, they love their people. They love their culture. They engage in activities that some other ethnicities may not deem appropriate. But they're just like me and you. I mean, there's no difference. They love their country. They just have a different way of going about it. But to try to blanket and say, it's white against black, man, most of us know that that's not the truth. It's not the case. I wasn't raised racist. Most people that I know that are my age were not raised racist. Most of the racist people are the people that are 60, 70, 80 years old. That they lived through a time when that was common. But most of us, due to the way we were raised, racism isn't the issue. Now, if you were raised by a racist, it may be more of an issue to you than those of us that weren't. But I don't even know that many people that were raised by real racists. I can give you an example. I know, and I love her to death. She's an old black woman, and one of her sons is a good friend of mine. And she pretty much don't like white people. But, man, she has never, ever disrespected me. She's always treated me like family. But, you know, you can hear in her conversation and the things that she says where she's not really fond of white people. But I guess for whatever reason she doesn't look at me that way because she treats me like family. And, you know, there's old white guys that are the same, you know, older white people that feel the same about, you know, black people. It's just, there's something you can't take out of the people that lived through that time. But all of us in our 40s, 50s, you know, and below, that racism isn't the issue. And you're not going to see some 80-year-old person out there in the street destroying stuff, burning down buildings and knocking windows out of cars. These are young people that are being brainwashed into thinking that somebody is holding them back. And mainly it's the government. The government's the one who's made slaves of these people, not us.
Yeah, I agree with that. The system that was supposed to have helped them has not helped. It has, if anything, harmed them as people more than anything else has. It's crying shame.
Yep. I still haven't heard back on my motions from the court. I don't see how they're going to have any option other than to suppress the evidence. So at minimum, you know, they've got three issues they're facing right now in my particular case. Issue number one is a faulty indictment. The wording of my indictment does not match the wording of the statute. So therefore, the indictment is no good. They have got to go forward. They have to re-indict me. Well, they haven't done that. And it's my lawyer told me that's usually a pretty easy paperwork deal that they can do, you know, without any major complication. So they haven't re-indicted me. So because the next problem they face is the suppression hearing of how they illegally detained and stole my property without warrant or cause. And they're not going to be able to get out of that one. And there was a new Supreme Court decision that just came down, Rodriguez v. USA, where they've ruled that it is unconstitutional for a cop to stop somebody on a traffic stop and hold them for an extended period of time so that they can get a drug dog to come sniff the car for drugs. Supreme Court is standing strong on police having to have cause and reason to detain and hold you and to confiscate your property. And the federal government screwed up big time by doing what they did when they shot at us. We were the, quote, victims, but we were treated like we were the criminals. And it's all been an effort to cover their culpability in the crime against a civilian by a Border Patrol agent opening fire. So the suppression issue is going to be, I don't see how, and I do believe Judge Hannon to be lawful, legal, and a good man. So I don't know what's taking so long for the decision to come down, but, you know, we're waiting on that. And then the third issue is the constitutionality of the law itself. Like we talked about last week, the federal government has certain enumerated powers granted through the Constitution. And when they overstep those powers, that is unconstitutional and not legal, and they cannot do that. And by the wording of the statute, 922, they have overstepped their legal authority by the Constitution. So it's also a constitutional issue that is being addressed in my particular case. I don't think that the government is going to want that brought forward, because can you imagine the case precedent that would set if 922 is ruled unconstitutional, all the people that have been affected that are in prison now, because of those charges, they would have to redo it. So I don't think they're going to want that argument brought forward. I'm pretty sure, at least in my, hopes, that they're going to just say, okay, look, we got the evidence, illegally. We're sorry. We're going to drop the charge and leave it at that, because they're not going to want the constitutional issue brought up. I don't know why they're taking such a long time to make this ruling, but it's a good sign.
Yeah, no news is good news. But it's getting, like you said, it's how he writes it is going to be that's going to be a work of art. I'm sure he's going to have to be really artful in his ruling, because, like you said, it's got a lot farther reach than what we know or what was intended.
Well,
anyway.
And Judge Hannon, I'm sure right now, is being extra cautious because he's already being vilified by the left because they're saying that he's anti-government because he went against Obama. So, Judge Hannon, being a good jurist, and I do believe to be an honest man, got to make sure that everything that he does, that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, because he doesn't want to be looked at as being somebody who is not legal, lawful, and righteous. And so, he's, I'm sure, having to take his time to write his opinion, to make sure that nobody can come back and say, oh, you're just letting him go because you hate Obama. So I'm sure he's doing his due diligence to try to make sure that this cannot come back on him. And so I guess I'll just have to be patient for now. But it sure is.
Yeah.
It's really wearing my patience thin. I've been going through this over 6 months now. I've been locked with a tracking deal on my leg for 6 months. I've been made to have to take urinalysis tests. Bearing in mind, I've never, ever been convicted of a drug crime, and I've never, ever had any drug issues. But yet they're treating me like as if I'm some sort of drug offender, making me abstain from alcohol through court order. Never had a drinking problem. Never had an adjudicated drinking issue. So, they're doing everything they can to try to smash on me, to give me a hard time. But I think that the end of the tunnel, the light is very clear to me. And I just can't wait for the right thing to be done so I can move forward with my life.
Absolutely.
I'm so sick of this.
Yeah, I know you want to get active in your hometown politics, too. God bless Donnie Brock. Man, that's a good guy. That's a good guy.
Donnie,
he's suffering some slings and arrows right now himself, man.
Well, the thing is, the old guard, just like the typical politicians, they don't mind, just like the scrote bags that we have in Austin and in D.C., the politicians have no problem lying. It's just like second nature to them. And so we've got a problem here of a guy who's running for office, a guy named Jackie Goldman, who is a lying, corrupt piece of crap, just like Carolyn Strickland on the Quinlan City Council. And so they have no problem going around behind people's back, making up lies and accusations against Donnie when there is no proof. There is no evidence. But they're going around. One of the things that they said was that Donnie got so drunk uptown that he had to have people come scoop him up and put him in a car and drive him home. Well, you're a liar. I've known Donnie for a long, long time. First, I've never, ever seen him that drunk, ever. He drinks, but I've never seen him get that drunk, ever. And he damn sure wouldn't go uptown and do it. He's the mayor. If he's going to get drunk, he's going to do it at home. And then there's the accusation, oh, he does drugs. He's a dopehead. Okay, well, where's your proof? Bring it forth. Bring a dope dealer. Bring somebody forward that says, yeah, I sold Donnie drugs, or yes, I did drugs with Donnie. You're making this stuff up to harm his name and reputation. It's completely inaccurate. It's fake. It's false. It's a lie. And then when I call Jackie Goldman out because he's a dirtbag dad, I mean, I've got a daughter. And my daughter is when she started liking boys, you know, it hurts a dad, you know, because we all know what little boys are after. But I would never sit there and call my daughter a whore like he has done his daughter. You know, his son, his namesake, Jackie Jr., Jackie Clint Goldman, is a thief, a drug head, and he just got out of jail. And this guy's trying to claim that he has this high moral standing and he's this good and righteous guy, but yet you call your daughter a whore and your son is one of the biggest criminals in our area. So what's wrong with this picture? If you had instilled some better morals in your children, maybe your daughter wouldn't be a whore. If you instilled some better morals in your son, maybe he wouldn't be a thief and a dopehead.
And then again, you know, some folks are just twisted a little different.
Yeah, but to go around and try to throw stones when you live in a glass house is not real smart.
Exactly.
And
that's not real smart. Exactly.
I had this lady try to tell me, "Oh, you've been to jail?" Yeah, 27 years ago, up until this federal bullshit. I haven't been in trouble in over 28 years now since I got in trouble. So, you know, don't try to compare me to a scrope bag that just got out of jail, that in the last 5 years has got more criminal convictions and arrests than I do hair on my arm. You know, the dude he's just like that guy that got killed up there in Baltimore, a scrope bag with a long criminal history. See, my criminal history is not that long. I have, I think, a total of 4 charges, 4 or 5, 3 misdemeanor and 2 felony, and they go all the way back to 88 and before. Not one thing has happened in my life since 1988. So to try to call me a criminal or paint me as a criminal, I've lived my life by example that I am not a criminal. So I don't mind when people try to front me out. Oh, you've been to jail? Yep, sure have. Learned my lesson. Yep. I ain't not ashamed of it because it's who I am. It's what made me who I am today. So there's no shame in it. Was I a scrope bag at the time? Absolutely. Was I doing things that I had no business doing? Absolutely. Did I learn my lesson? Absolutely.
You got your butt spanked and you ain't been back sucking eggs since.
No, sir.
So
I'm not a criminal. I don't like criminal activity. My biggest problem is the violation of common law, and that is violating another human being. That is taking someone else's rights and stepping on them because you think you're bigger and better than them. And I don't go for that, man. I don't believe you should harm anybody unless they've brought it to you. Now, I mean, if you come up to me and you say, I'm going to kick your ass, Casey, well, guess what? Don't go crying to the police when I peel your cap off. And when I try to brutally and grievously harm you for stepping up to me like that. Don't go calling foul. Oh, man, I just meant to black your eye. Well, you should have asked a little bit more about me because I'm not concerned with blacking your eye. I'm going to try to remove your cranium from that little slim pylon that attaches it to your shoulders. I don't want to black your eye. I don't want to have a physical confrontation unless it is extremely brutal and final. I don't like fighting. I'm too old to be fighting and playing those games anymore. When I was younger, yeah, I used to fight quite a bit. Never started it, but I finished a whole lot of it. We got somebody that's had their hand up for a little bit, James. You want to bring them on?
Ooh. Yeah.
See what they. All right, 6663. Going to bring you on.
Hey, Casey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Well, we lost Joe last night. My ex-wife's husband lives here with us. He died of Agent Orange about 10:30 last night.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Doc Green did an obituary for him on Raging Elephants. I sent the obituary down. He had Vietnam service, 3 Bronze Stars, Silver Star, and a Purple Heart.
Wow.
Yeah. My son, the Master Chief, asked him one time, I said, "What did you do, man? Take out over with a slingshot?" Anyway, he was eat up. He had cancer of lungs, cancer of liver, leukemia, kidney failure, you name it. And he was trying to pull himself together, get back up to Utah, and his heart started failing last night. And he finally left us and all that kind of stuff. So there's still, we got to get him, we're going to bury him down here in the clean veteran cemetery. And that part of the family's going to go back to Utah to maintain the house up there. And I'm going to stay down here and continue to write. And I've been listening to you. I really, I want to tell y'all, with what I've gone through in the last 24 hours, I really appreciate listening to you guys talk. I can't put it any plainer than that. I really did. But what I wanted to touch on is one thing, though, the racism thing. I grew up in Louisiana in the 1950s, and I've seen the spectrum of what people would call racist behavior, and it wasn't anywhere near like it's painted in the movies at all. The more respectable white people would never say the word nigger. That was cussing. That was low sound. It was just something you didn't do. It wouldn't be politically correct. It was just like cussing in public. They didn't do it. My dad, one incident I want to tell you all about, we had to stay with my uncle for about a month or so, and there was like 2 TV stations back then. Didn't have cable. And my uncle was such a racist that every time a black person came on TV, he would turn the TV off. And it would irritate my dad to no end. He'd be sitting there following something, and a black guy would walk on the stage, and the show was over, and it would make Dad so mad. You know, he didn't know anything about racism or not racism or anything, but he just knew that was irritating him to death. And you guys are right. That mindset is dying off literally with my generation, and most of the people in my generation have come to accept new standards. You can't, like the kids that are tearing up Baltimore right now, you can't just label all black people under that. You can't
Absolutely
do that. It doesn't work. And the people up in Baltimore who look at us, and I'll be honest, they look at us Texans and right away they see people being dragged behind pickups, but we're not like that. We're not like that at all. And I very much like the Crips and the Bloods you were talking about. We look up there, being, from Texas, you say Crips and Bloods, and we see thugs. So when a Crip comes on and says, we're not doing this, we're not like that. We've got to get away from the stereotypes that the government is trying to lay on us and separate us and make us hate and fight each other. We just got to do that. But all that having been said, I've got my hands full. I'm going to listen a little while longer. And it's just wonderful to listen to you guys talk. It's really refreshing tonight. I don't want to be racist about this, but I got a house full of women, and they just lost their dad, grandfather, uncle, and all that. And it's hard. Women don't take that shit too easy.
Yeah, but one thing that I always
go ahead.
Yep. One thing that I always try to tell people that have lost a loved one and a family member, and I try to tell people, when it's my time, I don't want you to be sad that I'm dead. You should rejoice, because that's when I'm home with God. I know it's sad for us that we lose somebody that's a good moral person, somebody that has shown through their life that they were a caring, loving, hardworking person. But I kind of look at it joyous. I look at it as somebody got their time to go be with God. They got to walk away from this sinful, torn up, corrupt world, and they're in a whole lot better place than we are currently. I feel sad for me not for the guy that died.
Right.
I feel happy for them.
Casey, you've seen these New Orleans, I'm from Louisiana, a New Orleans funeral where they have the real, and they go all the way to the graveyard, and then they dance all the way back.
Yep.
Because a good man went to God. He really did. And are you two guys veterans? Either one of
you?
Yes.
So, my son's a master chief. Well, I'm a little thing here. My son's a master chief, and old Joe, he was in the Army in Vietnam and all that, and they got to talk to each other on the phone, on the speakerphone, about a month ago, because he wanted to meet my son, he never could. We wanted to talk to him. And the way these guys talk, I don't think civilians will ever understand, because Joe was real honest. He told Wilbur, he said, I ain't going to make it. This agent orders to meet me up. It's not as bad as those poor people in Vietnam, but it's got me pretty good. I'm not going to pull through. And Wilbur goes, well, Sarge, I tell you what, I'll see you in hell. And he said, yep, I'll meet you there. Well, you guys carry on. Thank you so much for the show tonight. You really lightened my load a little bit. I'm not ashamed to say I was really upset. I knew Joe. I knew yesterday afternoon. His breathing, he was struggling to get air. He couldn't get air. Could not get air. And they sent him down to another wing of the VA in Temple, and it didn't work. They're going to drill a hole in his neck, and that didn't work. And his last words, and he's married to my ex-wife. That tells you how close our bond is. This guy thought I was his best friend. And I wasn't there. He wanted his chihuahua to be with him. So I brought his chihuahua and an order of chicken wings. He wanted that. And he fed that chihuahua chicken wings in his bed. But we couldn't take the chihuahua down to the ICU, and we had to bring it back, and that's when he died. My ex was there, and she said, and he was telling him his chest was hurting and all this, and then he looked at her, and he said, oh, baby, and he smiled, and that was the end right then. I would be almost sure that man went to heaven.
Oh, absolutely. You know, that when you say I'll meet you in hell, I don't think that people mean it quite literally.
No, not at all. Joe had a great sympathy for the Vietnamese people. He told me things, and then I read an article yesterday, as a matter of fact, just by chance, that the whole area of Vietnam, the size of Massachusetts, has been ruined by Agent Orange. The people are still suffering. And veterans from that era are relocating there and working with the industry and working with the Vietnamese people. And Joe was the same way. So we went in there and just, number one, we had no business being there. No business whatsoever. And we went in there and we were in their countryside. We were in their country. And now turned around and we're doing economic moves trying to lure them away from China. You know, we got more money than they got. We'll help you more. And the Vietnamese people are smart. They're coming our way. I want to tell you all one more story. I've got to tell you one story. It's about that, but it's not about that. Years ago when I was in real estate, and Casey will appreciate this all the hell and back, I was in real estate, and we sold an apartment complex to a Vietnamese investment group. They flew over, and they looked at a big apartment complex in Killeen, and there was a manager there, an on-site manager, and the owners told us he speaks Vietnamese and 3 Chinese dialects, all this stuff. And they met him. He walked out. This guy was fat, and he was wearing a howdy-doody cowboy hat. But he talked all that stuff, you know, and he told them all about the ins and outs of the building. And at lunch, they said, you know, they wanted to eat lunch. I said, well, you want like Chinese and Korean restaurants? No, they wanted to eat chicken fried steak. So we took them over we took them over to eat chicken fried steak. And we started talking in English, and they began to compare war notes, because all these guys were the same age as he was, you know, and he said, so when you were in the Republic of Vietnam, he said, in 67 or 68, I was captured in 68. He said, I was taken up, and I reported back to my unit in late 69. And they looked, and they said, we don't let anybody go at 69. And he just smiled and said, I know. Howdy doody hat and all. Casey, good luck on your case, and God bless both of you and everything. I may not be on much longer because I got all these people in the house, but I just want to let you know I'm here.
That's all right, man. We appreciate you so much.
Please send our condolences to the family, and I'll say an extra prayer for their peace and comfort. Obviously he's in comfort. He's in God's hands. He's living in a better place. So, but I will mention and try to lift them up so that they can deal with their loss.
Buddy.
It's a shame that we keep losing good Americans.
He wanted to go. He wanted to go to a rally down with Doc Green last time. He was too down too low, and couldn't make it. But he really, really, really wanted to go to a rally and sit there in his wheelchair and watch the speeches. But anyway, God bless y'all, and carry on, and I'll listen as long as I can.
All right, thank you. We appreciate you, Wilbur.
All right.
Agent Orange, man. Woo! That's it.
Yeah, Agent Orange is basically the equivalent of Roundup. You know what I mean? And that's what they're using to genetically modify our food so that the Roundup, Agent Orange type stuff, because all Agent Orange was a defoliage agent. It killed every plant that it touched, just like Roundup. That's exactly what Roundup does. It kills every plant that it touches. And yet they give us Agent Orange to spray in our yards. They give us Agent Orange modified resistant food that we eat. I mean, and we wonder why we've got cancer rates and everything else going through the roof like we do. I mean, it's a true shame, man.
And don't get me started on GMOs because I don't think they should have been playing with that stuff.
Well, you don't play with what God created.
No, it was made that way for a reason. We're made this way. He made us this way, and that's what we were intended to eat.
When I was a kid, my papa, God bless him, he passed away in 1988. But when I was a kid, my papa, he used to tell me, man, hell, if there ain't a wormhole in an apple, I ain't gonna eat it. I was like, what do you mean, Papa? I mean, I was like, ooh, gross. I was a kid. And he said, hell, if it ain't good enough for a worm, it ain't good enough for me. And that makes a lot of sense when you get older and you think about it. Hell, if a bug ain't going to eat some piece of fruit, then why in the hell are you eating it? You know what I mean? Because animals, they're going to eat whatever they can. Animals, bugs, critters. I actually looked at little bite marks. My stuff in the groceries. See? Thanks. Yeah.
I thought I was the only one that did that.
If a bug won't eat it, then why should I? You know what I mean? It's just like.
Well, you know what's worse than finding a worm in your apple, though?
Finding half a worm in your apple.
That's it. A little extra protein, but just the thought of that little bugger going down your throat, wiggling.
I remember when I was a kid, you remember they used to have the goldfish eating contest, back when we were kids. It used to be kind of a thing to eat goldfish. We used to seine up minnows out of the lake, and we put them in a minnow bucket, and we'd scoop up minnows and see how many minnows you could eat. I remember eating minnows, just putting them in your throat and swallowing them down. You could feel and squiggling on the way down.
No. No. Not me, bud. Not me. Not going there. No. I like fish. I like it baked. I like catfish. I like it deep fried. And I like crawfish and that, but they got to be cooked.
As a kid, we used to go crawfish hunting. I'd sneak in the fridge and grab some bacon, raw bacon, and we'd take the bacon and go catch crawfish. And I remember being out, get hungry out there crawfishing. Hell, I'd eat raw bacon. I wouldn't do it now because, now you got chance of getting all these diseases or whatever from eating raw food. What is it, E. coli, whatever else there is. I mean, but it never killed me then. I don't ever remember it making me sick, but something's gone bad with our food chain the way it is now. Because now, man, undercooked vegetables will kill you. It's like, really? What the hell are you all growing them in that a vegetable should harm you? You know what I mean?
Oh, it's excrement, human excrement that wasn't washed off of the leaves. And that's how you get that E. coli in there, man. You know, not washing
excrement.
You know,
that's shit for you people that don't know what excrement means. That's caca doo-doo shit.
That's your favorite one going, there's a little extra something for you there. Dog. Hey, what do you think about Bluebell having a big recall? They have never recalled anything in the company's history, and now they have pulled everything off the shelves, and they are going through their plants, and doing the spick and span on them. Man, you know it is serious when they do that.
I think somebody had to introduce something into the plant. You know, because those guys, they make a living on doing this. It is extremely important to them that their product is good, safe, clean, and healthy. So for there to all of a sudden get this listeria or whatever it was that has caused this massive recall, shut their company down, you know, something's not right there. Somebody is trying to, in my opinion, contaminate the food chain.
Well, you know me and my suspicious mind, I'm pretty sure I know somebody had to do that because they went all those years without a problem, and that they have safeguards in place, and you know that they work because they worked for all those years, and now to all of a sudden get this, I ain't going for that. Somebody tried to poison us.
Yeah, well, you know, people say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, conspiracy means to conspire. And that would be more in line to me than an accident or somebody just happened to have listeria from their body and they just accidentally contaminated the entire plant in such a fashion that it was making people as violently sick as it was. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen on accident. Someone introduced that to that plant. And to do that would conspire to harm people, therefore conspiracy. I believe
it was on purpose.
Conspiracy. Some people conspired to do that harm to the company. It could be for a personal reason. Cause, I mean, who knows? The point is, I in no way believe Bluebell.
It could have been a competitor. You know, Ben and Jerry's might have been getting shortchanged, and they were coming into their market, and Ben and Jerry said, "Ha, we get you." But you know, I'm just teasing about Ben and Jerry's, but somebody could have got upset with it. But that doesn't happen by accident that way.
No, a friend of mine, I think they call him a millwright or whatever. He works in big, huge bakeries and stuff where they make like chips and breads and stuff like that. And he tells me all the time about all the safeguards that they make those people go through. I mean, it's amazing the precautions that they take to try to keep the food contamination issue from occurring. I mean, they even have to, if you have a mustache, you have to wear a mustache net. It's a beard net. It covers your face. I mean, any hair that's exposed, you have to keep it covered. I mean, they are very strict. And you don't go in the processing area in your street clothes. You know, I mean, you're covered up. Your stuff's covered up. You know, you got booties on, just like going into a clean room, man. So that's pretty far fetched that it happened on accident. Yeah. Yep.
Well,
our country's in bad shape, man. Just like this jade-helm stuff. I think that's being blown way out of proportion. Do I think that they may be trying to use it to further their education on how to put the country under control? I believe that's possible. Do I think that that's what jade-helm is about? No. I mean, as far as actually trying to do it, I don't think they're coming to try to shut us down this quick, because it would be a complete disaster until they figure out how to do it. Now, after jade-helm is over, after this summer, I wouldn't doubt that they would have the full knowledge and ability to come and do it at a later time. And that's my concern with them practicing is, what are you practicing for? You've never needed this practice before in all the wars that we've fought. So now all of a sudden you want to practice in our country against our people using our topography, environment, community to learn how to infiltrate. And, yeah, I mean, something ain't right about the whole deal, but I don't believe that this, quote, exercise is the end of it. You know, I think it's just the beginning of it, personally.
Yeah, I got to agree with you on that. You know, because, I was thinking that, well, maybe they're expecting something to come up through our southern border that we don't know about, and they're staging people for that eventuality. Or maybe they're doing this to show somebody else that is thinking about coming up through our southern borders to cause us harm, and that if you do, we have a plan in place to fix you.
Yeah, but see, if there's a fear, and see, this goes back to the government, we're too stupid to know the truth, you know, just like Area 51 and spacecraft and aliens and all this, you know, we're too stupid to know the truth. You know, they need to start giving the American people credit for not being stupid. While we do have our share of stupid people in our population, I believe the majority of Americans would rather know the truth and prepare to deal with it. If we're looking at, say, an invasion or a big rush of people coming in to do our country harm, I think it would do the country more benefit to say, hey, everybody, stand up, stand alert, you know, watch what's going on, be mindful, you know, look for this, look for that. Because we as a people are a way stronger, quote, police force than any police forces that they've already put together. You know, we looking out for each other can do a far better job. Look what happened after 9/11, how everybody came together as a country. Yeah. Unfortunately, the nefarious Bush and Clinton can use that to our disadvantage. You know, they've tried to choke us with laws like the NDAA and the Patriot Act.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they've tried to strip our rights and freedoms through legislation, which is also another constitutional violation that we've allowed to keep going. You know, it's a shame.
And how did they do it?
Fear. Yeah, but like Benjamin Franklin said, those who would give up liberty for security deserve neither. Being free is a constant, vigilant effort.
Well, it ain't for chicken shits.
Work. No. Well, I mean, if you want to be secure, go to prison. They'll secure your ass.
Yeah, literally.
Literally.
Yeah, go in with Vaseline, come out polygrip. They'll secure that ass, all right.
But even look at prison. Prison is one of the most secure places on the planet, but yet people are still getting raped, robbed, and murdered in prison.
Yep.
So how does that work out for you?
It ain't no guns in there either, so, you know, it ain't because of the criminals. Oh, yeah. Hey, did anybody ever hear about how that riot down at the Brownsville Federal Prison got started? How did they get a frickin' match in that place?
Yeah, see, I called that bullshit right when that happened, and that was in Raymondville, which is like 60, 70 miles north of Brownsville. That's the federal facility that they held me at when the feds arrested me. It's called Willacy Regional Detention Facility, and it's a private prison run by MDC Corp. And that's a good question, man, because when I was there, I'm going to tell you what, man, that is the most secure jail that I have seen. Now, bear in mind, I haven't been in jail in, 20-something years, but I was highly impressed and saddened all at the same time that the security in this facility. I mean, there is no, the guards can't even smoke. The guards can't bring matches or lighters in. You know, so how they were able to start a fire, I have no idea. Because
how'd they MacGyver that shit up?
Hey man, there's no electrical outlets in the units, so you're not going to use electricity to do it. There was no sticks, so you're not going to rub sticks together. The hot water they do in a big percolator, and they give it to you a cup at a time from outside of the tank. I mean, there's no way. I don't know how in the hell somebody had to have done something to get something in there to let those people out of their tank so that they could create that havoc. I just don't understand how that happened. To me, and they wound up firing over 2,000 people. They shut that facility down. There's several little units right there. There's a Texas prison unit, TDC. There was a couple of those detention facilities that are run by MDC. There's the sheriff's jail, Raymondville County Jail is there. Yeah. It's like a little prison complex. There's a bunch of units right there piled on top of each other. And there's nothing but open fields around it, so there's no escape. You know, you try to get out, man, they shoot you a half mile away.
Jeez.
I don't know how they were able to get that. First, to be able to get free, to be able to free other people, and then to be able to start fires. Yeah, something's wrong there. Something's real wrong.
You said that they fired a bunch of folks?
Yeah, they let almost the whole prison staff go. I was reading an article, I think it was last week, where the only one that had left at that particular facility was the warden, and then they let him go. They were trying to build the unit back up. And that particular, I was in county, that's what it is, not Raymondville, it's Willacy County. I was at the Willacy County Regional Detention Center, and there's two of them right there side by side. The one I was at was the Max, Fed Max. I mean, they had me locked up in a single cell, and every time I had to come out of my cell, they handcuffed me prior to coming out, had two guards escort me everywhere. I felt real special. And the one that they actually broke out, the one that they actually burned up and tore up was where they kept the illegals, not the ones that were charged with federal felonies like, you know, smuggling drugs or in my case, the firearm deal or, you know, whatever else. John is still down there at that facility too. The one that burnt was the one where they kept and housed the thousands of illegals that were pouring across the border. So now that facility's closed, so that takes away those bed spaces. So what are they doing? Just turning them loose now because they don't have bed space? I mean, it's all.
Well, they sure as heck ain't turning them back.
Oh no! Come on, man. We know better than that. We were there. We saw it.
Yeah, and not only that, we talked to other folks that are down there regular, and, you know, they ain't turning them back.
No, even the guys, from my understanding, that are there now, instead of turning them back like we did, if they get a chance to, they apprehend them and turn them over to Border Patrol, which I'm very much against. I was against when I was down there doing that. The only reason that we did it when I was there, and, you know, is when we caught them too far away from the river to actually run them back, or when we were trying to prove to the American public that we did have that authority when we videotaped us arresting them.
Yeah, and then there was a few cases. You keep forgetting about the few cases of the guys that you found that were so dehydrated and eat up that you washed them down, put the bug spray to them, got them water and everything else, and actually saved their friggin' lives, and got Border Patrol up there to take them on in because they needed hospitals.
Yeah, but, you know, people don't believe that we did that, so I don't even bring it up because I don't want to hear the arguments. Oh, y'all didn't really do that. Yeah, okay, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Film at 11.
Well, it's just like people don't believe, just like that last video that we did when we chased those back across, get in the water, how that Border Patrol agent was sitting right there in plain view of them in the middle of the field when we began pursuit of them. And he never even moved off the levee. And then we went and jumped his ass after we ran him back across the river for not even coming down there to back us up, knowing dang well that they heard all the yelling and screaming that was going on.
I mean, still hear his response. I can hear his response right now just as well as we were doing it, as he was saying it right there. Oh, man, my ship is ending. I got to go.
Yeah, I'm thinking to get off.
He said it.
Yep, you're right. Big old fat dude. Man. I still remember his belly almost touching the steering wheel, just sitting there.
Well, yeah, and you know, as short as he was, I'm surprised he didn't have blocks on the pedals. Okay,
you're being mean, James.
Yeah, I'll quit that. It's stereotypical stuff, and it's just because it happened and it was that way, don't mean I got to expound on it. That's a big word for talk about it a lot. But boy, I sure want to talk about it a lot. It's hard. It's hard bridling that, man.
Hey, I told you I got the war wagon back, didn't I?
Yeah.
I got that sucker fixed, man. You don't know how big of a relief that was to me. Everybody that doesn't understand what the war wagon is or was, that was the Kawasaki mule that we patrolled the border in. We put 2,500 miles on my mule chasing the illegals back. And when I got put in jail, James had to fix it because we had one of the steering pinion bolts had coming out and the steering was messed up. So when I went to jail, James fixed that. And then while I was in jail, the front end got shelled. And so when I got it back, after I got out of jail and got home, we went to take it off the trailer, and it was, man, it sounded like somebody threw a bucket of bolts in the front differential. It was just grinding. And so I was just able to thank God. That's because there wasn't any bolts left in it. Oh, man. I told you what made it fail, didn't I?
What was it?
The main bearing on the pinion shaft that comes from the drive shaft that goes into the pumpkin to run the two drive axles. The bearing shelled. And so when that bearing shelled, it threw the main pinion off. Well, it was riding on the edges of the other pinion gears, and it just chewed the teeth off those pinion gears. I mean, it destroyed the inside of that pumpkin. And that happened from whenever I think it was Archie and John that were out that day when they torqued the drive shaft. Remember when we had to go through all that crap?
Oh, yeah. John flew it off of a hump down there.
Yeah, well, that's what, when that happened, because of all that torque, whenever it broke that drive shaft, because it all happened really quickly after that, it must have blown the bearing out in that front end, and us not realizing it, we just fixed the drive shaft and the U-joints and the yokes. But then as soon as we got that going again, because that pinion, the bearing was screwed up in it, it just chewed those gears up, man. It destroyed that pumpkin. It's a shame.
I know one thing. Kawasaki could have made one of the best sales commercials following you around on that thing. Man, let me tell you something, folks. He put that thing through stuff that was 5 foot tall, and grass and small trees and stuff. And that Kawasaki mule with 5 miles an hour through that stuff, just wah, 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 wah. And there would be a down tree, probably 18 to 20 inches in diameter, and it hit that, and it would just crawl up over it and get down the other side of it. It was amazing. This four-wheel drive son of a gun would go through anything. And when it got stuck, it was really stuck. But it could get winched out. You know, it could get pulled out or dug out and that. But, man, I've got a lot of respect for that Kawasaki mule. That dog will hunt.
Oh, man, I tell you what, I was highly impressed.
I can't wait till you get wiggled free of that stuff, man. I want to go hog hunting. I want to go back in a mule. I want to go play some more. That thing is just fantastic. Just any excuse to get out in the woods in that thing.
hey, I've got the perfect place to go do it too. As soon as I get this damn thing cut off my leg, I guarantee you we're gonna go hog hunting. I'll take you out here around here and take you out in the woods around here, and just like on the border. Except here we got more trees, so I get to do more tree smashing than I did down there at the border. But that's how I learned how that thing will smash a tree, man. I mean, you can hit a 3-inch tree, and I can knock that 3-inch tree down. I don't care if it's 30 feet tall, 20 foot tall. I can knock that tree down and climb right over the top of it. I mean, I've done it numerous times.
Yeah,
that is an awesome piece of equipment.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's completely astounding. And when you've got a pilot in the seat that can use it to the fullest of its extent and capabilities, let me tell you something. That is the best e-ticket ride, better than anything Disneyland's got. I can guarantee that because I've been to Disneyland on the e-ticket rides. This was more fun. This was so much more fun.
We definitely put that mule to the test out there, I promise you. Hey, we got somebody else with their hand up.
Oh, cool.
I mean, so I'm going to bring them in. 0568.
Hello.
Hello and welcome.
Hi,
how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Mary. I'm doing good.
Did you know that there's a riot in prison up in Pennsylvania?
There's a riot in the prison in Pennsylvania?
Yep. And I know one of the people that live there. It's sad. They had the place on lockdown.
Yeah, I feel bad for the...
Go ahead.
I feel bad for anybody that's locked up and incarcerated in prison going through the times that we're fixing to go through because, in my opinion, there's a lot of people in prison that don't deserve to be in prison. Now, if you victimize somebody
that does.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's plenty that do, but to me, people that haven't created a victim don't deserve to be in prison. If you victimize somebody, you've raped, robbed, pillaged, harmed someone, then I believe place in prison is the place you need to be. But people that are...
home invasion, you deserve to be there.
Absolutely. You violated another person's property. Yep.
Hi, James.
Hey, how you doing, girly girl?
Good. How are you?
Woo, I'm having a good time tonight.
And I've been listening to you guys.
All right.
It's been awesome.
Oh,
I just haven't said nothing.
Well, we sure appreciate
you listening.
Oh, the whole time. You like my post? Okay.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
And I was not bullshitting you. I said I'd be there, and I'm here.
Yes, ma'am.
We're so glad to have you, too. You got a story for us?
What?
Do you have a story for us?
No, I'm just waiting for you guys to talk some more. Guess I have something to throw in.
Oh, cool. Well, we didn't know about the riot in Pennsylvania prison. Thank you.
That's only because that's where I'm from.
You're from Pennsylvania?
Yes. What? I know. What am I doing in Arkansas, right?
I know what I'd be doing in Arkansas.
I'll tell you what, that cold weather up there was enough to drive anybody out of there.
I believe that.
And they had one wicked winter up there. That's from Alabama, yes. See ya? You stay up there with all that snow. I'm not even going to contend with that.
Well, I don't blame you. I'd have got out of that cold weather too, hon.
Oh, it was. Oh man, I wouldn't even gone the winter. That's how bad it got.
Ooh.
I hate the cold, man. And the older I get, the more I hate cold weather, even more.
Hell, you're catching me.
Yeah, I know. I ain't going to be too long before I'm too old to move.
That's what they make wheelchairs for. So you can get around.
You bet.
It was
cold.
Story.
Did it get cold up there this morning in Arkansas? It was cold all day down here. Well, it was chilly anyway. It was like in the 50s.
I don't go out. I stay out of that mess. Once in a while, I'll be going tomorrow. Got a doctor appointment, but other than that, don't. There was a woman that came in today, and she said it was cold out. And I thought, for her, it's always cold out. Now, I'm inside with shorts and t-shirt on. What do I care? I ain't impressing nobody.
Well, I haven't. I am sure glad that they invented central air and central heat. Makes Texas more bearable.
Apartment that had both. It was horrid. We didn't even. The only thing that we lost out of the fire was couch and chair that my mom gave me when my dad passed away. But other than that, I saved everything else. And the fire department up here they were awesome. I mean, they got my lockbox, they'll throw my medications in it and everything. I had 2 computers, all my phones, my modem, answer machine. The whole works. They brought it all to me. And I was like, huh? Alarm clock? I thought, wow, wait a minute here. When am I going to do all this stuff?
Those firemen, they are awesome.
My dad was fire chief for 30 years in Pennsylvania. Well, right up until he died. He got his last stride. This is no lie. On the pumper. From the church to the cemetery.
That's cool. That's an honorable way to be able to get your last ride.
It sure is.
But I'll tell you what, that man went through 4 years of pure hell. He's been gone. It'll be 17 years. But he fought. He made me a corner cabinet. And he had cancer when he did it. Nobody knew about it. Unless he had said something to my mother. Now, that I don't know. Because I moved away from home in 1980. I went back. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead and finish the story.
I went back. I was going to say, met him 4 times. That's it.
Well, thank you for listening, and we sure do appreciate you.
I would miss this one for the world.
You're too cute.
Well, we appreciate you. We're getting ready to close out the show, Mary. We're going to give the props and credits out to sponsors and people of the show. So if you'll stand by, we're going to go ahead and get ready to close the show out. But we do appreciate you calling in, and please continue to do so. Help spread the word, help get people to understand.
I understand. There ain't no doubt in that one.
All right. Well, thank you, Mary, and look forward to talking to you again, okay?
Yep. You betcha.
Bye-bye,
Have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Okay, see, you said you were going to play some stuff. We're going to give some props out to our sponsors.
Yep, I want to give thanks to Bobby Ritter. I didn't get to upload your deal, but I'm going to have you do it live and in person. But I want to give thanks to Bobby Ritter, the owner of the Rage Against the Regime platform, for giving me the opportunity and a place to speak. I want to thank everybody that listens to the archives and listens to the show live. I want to thank you guys coming in and listening and being a part. Makes me feel good to know that, you know, I have the support I do from all you guys. I want to thank my lawyer, Louis Cerullo. He's an awesome man, good patriot. He's done an outstanding job. Can't wait to finally get some resolve to this case that I'm going through. And James, I want you to tell people about Steel Defender. Steel Defender is a company that has donated for me to try to help. They donated some equipment and gear to try to help me when we were having our court trip going down to Brownsville. And they've got some really good, high-quality products, and they're good American pieces, and James can tell you a little bit more about that. Go ahead, James.
Yeah. Steel Defender, it's body armor for people that don't know. In the times that we live in that it's not only good to be armed and to be practiced up with your firearms and that kind of stuff, but the one thing that everybody needs is body armor. Sounds kind of crazy, but I mean, when you go to the range and there are people that aren't maybe quite as inept as other folks, and there are range accidents. And that Steel Defender has several different smaller vests, plate carriers in that. And if you go to steeldefender.com and check out their merchandise, and this stuff is it's NIJ Threat Level 3 certified. And for you guys that don't know, that's it's taken 6 rounds of .308 at 50 yards and not having a failure. The stuff has a Line-X coating on it that stops spalling. There are videos up on YouTube, and you can go to the steeldefender.com webpage and look at the test videos that the Austin PD did on these plates to show not only do they meet, but they pretty much exceed the NIJ standards. So again, that's Steel Defender at steeldefender.com. If you don't have plates and you don't have carriers, check them out. They're excellent. And they use the Condor carriers. Wonderful product. Anyway, that's about all I've got to say about that. And I guess we're about out of time, bud.
Yep, we're running out. It was a good show. Appreciate you coming on with me, James. As always, it's good to host shows with you. We've been doing this for a long time now. Seems like forever. But I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate all you people out there listening and the people that come back and listen to us on archive. My message to everybody is, we need to try to work in our communities to get people to come together. We need to go back to the old school, start meeting your neighbors, start shaking your neighbors' hands, start trying to bring people together, because we are in for a bad time in this country if we don't pull together pretty quick. You know, we cannot keep letting the government and the media separate us and split us by claiming racism and all the other crap that they're throwing at us, propaganda to try to divide us through race, through religion, through financial resources. I mean, we got to come together. So
the fear-mongering's got to go.
Country.
Amen.
Yep.
There's one other thing I wanted to tell you guys about Steel Defender. You know, it's not like some other companies that, wait 2 to 3 weeks for your order to come in. If you order from Steel Defender that day, if you order it before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it goes out that day. If you order it by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's going to get to you. They send it that day. They've got stock. They are set up and prepared. They're not waiting until they get 10 or 15 orders then do a run. These guys have the material on the floor. They're fully stocked. You make your order. It's generally shipped the same day. Again, that's Steel Defender at www.steeldefender.com. Check it out. You owe it to yourself.
Well, I appreciate it, James. I'm going to play for going out the song that you sent me, Pissed Off Rednecks. I like that song.
I do too,
With
man.
that, everybody.
God bless y'all.
God bless USA, and God bless we the people. And thanks again, everybody, for listening. We'll be back next week. Thank you.
The hallmark of Jimmy Johnson's championships has been...
Pissed